Hey everyone, and welcome back to Dank Ferric for a new Star Wars lore dive and a what if. Today we'll be discussing the Mask of Darth Nihilus, the deadly and powerful Sith Lord from the age of the Old Republic, who came generations before the likes of Darth Sidious, Anakin Skywalker, or Ben Solo. Today we'll be talking about what would happen when somebody wears or puts on the Dark Lord's mask, and if he would have been able to put his spirits into it. Though, before we begin, do remember to like the video to help boost out the channel and subscribe if you're new for Star Wars content on the regular. Now, let's get into it.
I have felt it too, my lord. A disturbance in the Force.
How is Nihilus described? Visas Mar was recalled to say that he is a wound in the Force, more presence than flesh, and in his wake, life dies, sacrificing itself to his hunger. This was true. It was all true, more and more than most could fathom. He thrived on consuming what he could, the darkness, the light, and even life itself. And as much as he was a wound, he was also a vessel, and at each stop across the galaxy, this vessel's decks filled with metaphorical rows of energy, for he was as much a collector as he was a destroyer. No, he was a ravager with the highest of appetites. And his work, it lasted some time. In fact, in Legends, he worked to help root out and nearly destroy the entire Jedi Order. That's until the famed Jedi exile, who was banished from the Jedi for following Revan into the Mandalorian Wars against the wishes of the Council, had come to face Nihilus. With their confrontation, Nihilus was eventually destroyed, utterly and entirely. But what if in his final moments he was able to tie a fragment of himself to his infamous white mask? What would happen to the person who dared to wear it next? This is what we ask. But to do so, we'll need to look at the Sith afterlife. By that I mean, the Jedi, they have their Force ghosts. But the Sith have bindings. Let's discuss what those binds are now.
Why do you come to my tomb, Jedi?
To learn.
Do you know who I am?
Yes. Darth Vader, the ancient Sith Lord.
But first, think of the tombs across all of Korriban, or Moraban as it's called in current canon. Within many of them, you can find Sith spirits lingering, such as when an explorer or a curious mind enters, the spirits can play games upon them or torment them, even possibly pass wisdom of some of the worst kind if they wish it. However, you never see these spirits outside the tomb or outside the ancient dark side place, let's just call it. Well, that is because it's what's in the tomb. That is because the Sith bind themselves to something that was theirs. Think of a sword, think of their armor. These are all things that they are often put to rest with, sometimes even their weapons. So when they do pass, some were able to attach their dark spirit onto some of these items. And it's with this tactic and this method that our Darth Nihilus could be able to hold on to the living lands and deliver whispers of his hunger to another, even generations after his death. So now that you have the method, you have the way. This is how the Sith did this. By putting our theory or what if into motion, what would happen if Nihilus's spirit was in the mask when another came to wear it? For one, no, he could not outright possess them, at least not in my opinion. That is a limitation of his darkness. However, he could lay heavy influence. He could mark them with the dark power, and therein lies a truth.
It is a technique that is almost as old as the Sith themselves. It is a means of severing connections between life, the Force, and feeding upon the death it causes. It cannot be taught. It can only be gained through instinct, through experiencing its effects firsthand. There is no strength in the hunger he possesses, and the will behind his power is a primal thing, and it devours him as he devours others. His mere presence kills all around him, slowly feeding him. He is already dead. It is simply a question of how many he kills before he falls.
Now let us look at Nihilus himself. His drive and his hunger led him to a darkness for the ages. So just imagine what his evil spirit could do. It could inspire those devious traits within the wearer. Just think for a moment. Logically, it could stimulate the wearer to slowly destroy themselves in the classic dark side trope, which is destroy oneself in the quest for greater power, which is most often the darkest of powers. And yes, there are some who believe that it might be imbued with the Sith Lord spirit and wearing it would kill you, but I feel that would not be fitting, especially in this case. You see, Nihilus, he left behind a wretched legacy and a voracious one. A veracity for hunger, power, and more. And with this mask, after his death, his spirit tied to it, he would and most certainly turn the wearer, force sensitive or not, into one of the voracious means as well. Thus, whether a commoner, or an adventurer, or a Jedi, or a non-Jedi, it doesn't matter who wears it. His legacy lives on in some twisted and hungry way, which works even better in all truths. Nihilus, he did not care for the spotlight or the grand scheme. He would not care who wore it. He would only care that his work, in one way or another, echoed through the galaxy, just like the silent, tortured whisper it was at the height of his wicked power. And that is the mask of Darth Nihilus. And that, in my opinion, is what the mask would bring. Thanks for checking out this short Star Wars What If, and that closes up this video. Just a little taste of Darth Nihilus and the power his mask could bring if he was able to tie his spirit to it. Thanks for checking this out, and anyways, if you're new, be sure to subscribe for more content, or if you're not, even if you are, give the video a like to help out the channel. Otherwise, this is Dank Ferric, and I'm signing off until the next time. May the Force be with you, always.